Hey everybody, welcome. It's Andrew Ainsworth Golf Academy. I've got the new Mizuno JPX923 range to talk to you about. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome to the video. It's Andrew Ainsworth here. Good to have you along. Great to be back. By the way, if you're new to the channel and it's your first time watching my videos, welcome. If you like the video content, maybe you could consider hitting that subscribe button. Oh, and while you're down there, give it a little thumbs up. That would be great. So, we're talking today about the new JPX923 range from Mizuno. Or is it Mizuno? There lies a question. Let's call it Mizuno for today. So they've done a little split launch this year, which has been interesting. Normally what would happen is they'd launch the whole range all in one go. So they've done this little split launch. We've got 3 models that have launched now, and I think another 2 models which are coming next January, I think, January or February. So what we've got is a new hot metal called the HL, which stands for high launch. We'll tell you a little bit about that in a minute. The replacement to the 921 hot metal, and we've also got the Hot Metal Pro. So let's start at this end and talk to you about this fella here. Why have they launched a high launching iron? Well, it's a good question, but I'll try and answer that as best as I can without boring you to death. The big problem with a lot of golf irons these days, game improvement irons, cavity backs, whatever you want to call them, is they've all gone down this distance route. Manufacturers have been cranking the lofts on irons year on year for many years now. Gone are the days when a 7-iron, it used to be 34, 35, 36 degrees, even 37, believe it or not. Back in some older blades 20 years ago, 37 degrees of loft. We're now down to 28.5 degrees of loft, which seems bizarre, doesn't it? The problem it's caused really is that there's been a squeeze on lofts at the other end in wedges, and I'll show you the specs of these and tell you what that squeeze has done. But it's also made 3-irons, which has not been a bad problem. 3-irons have disappeared off the face of the earth, really. No manufacturers, or lots of manufacturers, not producing 3-irons anymore. 4-irons are becoming such strong lofted now that a lot of golfers are struggling to launch the 4-iron. So they're moving into hybrid, which again, in my book, is a good thing. So we're seeing lots of sets start at 5-iron because the modern 5-iron is a bit more like what used to be a 4-iron or even a 3-iron donkeys years ago. Anyway, I digress. The high launch, what they found is that with some of these stronger lofted clubs, golfers with slightly slower, moderate to slower swing speeds can't launch the ball particularly high. So they're not getting the launch, they're not getting the carry angle, they're not getting the backspin rate. So they've bring in this high launch, I think it's a brilliant idea. They're saying higher launching option for players with moderate swing speeds or aggressive shaft lean. Shaft lean being sort of that sort of position at impact where we're kind of de-lofting the club. 31 degrees on a 7-iron. We'll show you the spec of those. So we're going to hit some balls with that a little bit later. Then we come on to their stock club. This is where I guess most of their sales may come from, is in the JPX923 hot metal. This, we've seen the 919, we've seen the 921. So Mizuno changing, it depends on circumstances, you know, every year to 18 months or sometimes 2 years they're going to change. And then we've got the slimmer version of this one called the Hot Metal Pro. Same specs in terms of loft and everything else. Basically just a slimmed down version, compact with minimal offset for confident ball strikers seeking maximum ball speed, confident ball strikers. And the hot metal bang in the middle is a full speed, high stability cavity for straight flight and distance. I'm not going to bore you with all the new engineering things that Mizuno have done in their design. If you're really interested in that, then jump onto their website and look for yourself. There is a new material, that's all I'll tell you about, and it's called nickel chromoly. I'm not 100% up to speed on how that differs from standard chromoly, but from what I can gather is it allows them to make the face a little bit thinner, thus increasing ball speed, thus making the ball go further. Let's have a quick look at some specs, shall we? Let me just scroll down here. Yeah, here we go. We're going, introducing nickel chromoly, new material with additional ball speed. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to go into all of that. 35% stronger than our original hot metal material, nickel chromoly is. Vibration controlling V chassis. Blimey, sounds like a car. Chris Voschel extolling the virtues of it. We'll just quickly tell you about this, that the new 4335 nickel chromoly is 35% stronger than our original chromoly, 8% thinner for higher ball speeds off the club face. And this, eventually, I will get there and find you the specs. So here we go. The 923 hot metal specifications. I'm always very interested in lofts. The great disappearing loft debate, I think we could call this. I always look at 7 irons. That's always the stock club. That's always what we fit with. We're down at 28.5 degrees of loft. 5 irons down at 22 degrees. 4 irons at 19, which is where a 3 iron, even some 2 irons used to be. But here's the interesting bit. Pitching wedge loft now is at 42.5. 42.5 degree pitching wedge, which means your gap wedge is essential. There's no way you could jump from a 42.5 degree pitching wedge to a sand wedge, giving yourself that 11.5 degree gap, whatever that is. Just can't do it. It's just too big a gap. So you've got to put in a gap wedge at 48 degrees. But that's fine, because we're probably dropping the 4 iron. So we'd probably go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, pitching wedge, gap wedge, sand wedge, lob wedge. You can add in your own wedges, or you can buy the Mizunos, or you can run right through. So there's the loft issues. If we just nip onto the high launch specs, which I want to share with you. Big fan of these. Oh, this is running through. As you can see here, the hot metal 923 and the pros are exactly the same in lofts. They don't change at all. But as you go into the hot metal specs in the HL, we start to see some better lofts, in my opinion. Starts at 5 iron, brilliant. You're going to find that the golfer is going to go after these, would be using hybrids anyway. So it starts at 5, but we've got a nice loft. We've got 31 degrees on the 7 iron, which is brilliant. And we've got 45 degrees on a pitching wedge, which is great. So to me, these look great lofts. We will hit some in a minute. So there we go. Let's get some clubs out. Let's build some clubs and let's hit some balls. Be right back. Okay, first up is the 923 hot metal. What's brilliant this year in the fitting kit is that they've given us, they normally give us a standard head for lie. They normally give us a 2 degrees upright, which is also used with longer clubs. But this year they've given us a flat lie as well, which is 2 degrees flat. I happen to be 2 degrees flat in all my clubs. So 7 iron, 28.5 degrees. I've gone with a fairly stocky shaft on this. It's the NS Pro 950 Neo. It's a high launching shaft. It's in stiff. It's standard length, standard lie. I've got Pro V1 golf balls. I've got my trusty GC2 on the deck. I'm at a course called Willow Crest. No idea if it's a real course or made up. It's 170 yards to the flag. Let's hit some and see what the 923 does. Well, a little bit of a pull to start with, pin high in the bunker. We're coming in here at 86 miles an hour club speed, so not, for me, about my normal. A 116 ball speed, spinning at 4.7, giving me a carry distance of 167 yards. And I've got to be honest, folks, that wasn't a great strike. It was a little bit fat. So let's see if we can improve the strike a little bit. That was better. That was okay. That should hit target. Pretty nice. So knock that to 20 feet. Coming at a little bit more club speed as I'm limbering up, because the athlete that I am. I'm not really. 88 miles an hour, no increase in ball speed, launching at 17.3, spinning at 5.4, 163. Again, that was, strike was okay. Now, I'm going to lean on one a little bit, and then I'm going to back one off so we can do some sort of variable speed testing. So we'll give this one a little bit of welly, I think. There we go. That's about as hard as I'd like to hit it without phoning my chiropractor. So all of a sudden, 89 miles an hour, bit of a better strike than the last one, 120 ball speed. And you can see these clubs are pretty powerful. I'm carrying that out there 170 yards through the air, spinning at 5.4. So although we've got this strong lofted 28.5 degrees, it's still able to produce backspin. 5.5 revs, 5,500 revs of backspin's enough to stop that ball. Let's just back this off a little bit for those guys and girls out there watching who maybe don't swing at these club speeds, maybe swing a little bit slower. This may go in the water or maybe not particularly straight. I'm just going to hit a couple of shots where I just back some of these club speeds down a little bit and see what we can tell you carry distance wise. Well, that's going left, by the way. We can't use that one. We could edit it out, but we'll leave it in there. What was the club speed of interest? 79. That's kind of what I was after. I just didn't want to hit it 40 yards left of target. Bit heavy. We'll take it. We'll take it. These clubs are supposed to deal with mishits, right? I'm your man to test them. There we go. 81 miles an hour of club speed. 105 ball speed, giving you a carry distance of 148. 150 carry. Not bad, is it? For a bit of a missed strike. Should we back one down a little bit more? It's probably not the right shaft now, but we'll just do it. It's going to go in the water, but again, this is going to give you a rough idea of what you might expect from this carry-wise. Swinging that one at 71 miles an hour. A lot more backspin, face is a little bit open, 122 yards of carry, but it wasn't a great strike. So gives you a little bit of a flavour of what this club is. Do I like it? Yes, I do like it. I think it does everything it says it should do. It's very forgiving, it's very long, it looks great. The top edges will give you some overheads. Visually, I think it's a great looking club. If I had a set of 921s, would I be banging on somebody's door like me to change them? Absolutely not. I don't think the gains over the previous model are high enough for me to justify going to spend a big chunk of money on upgrading these. But if you're coming into the Mizuno or you've got some maybe 6, 7, 8 years old, then definitely worth changing. Not cheap. Prices of golf clubs in the UK have gone up. I'm sure that's happened all over the world. Per club, let me remember, these are working out for me here, and it'll vary online, I guess, £130 per club in steel shafts or graphite. So for 7 irons, what's that? £910 for 7 irons. So around about the £900 mark for this club. The pros are a little bit more expensive, and I'm not quite sure why they're a bit more expensive. No, can't tell you. There is a reason, but I can't remember. You're looking at £140 for those, for the pros. So whatever that makes it, 140 makes you what, 980, something round about that sort of price range. So yeah, pretty expensive, but quality clubs. Let's have a quick hit with the high launch, shall we? The high launch head is fitted, looks exactly the same from above, except that it's got a bit more loft on it. We're at 31 degrees of loft. This is my sort of loft. I look down at this now, and I will give you some overheads. This looks like a 7-iron. You know, all of a sudden my eyes go, yeah, that's a 7-iron. Whereas really I've just been hitting a 6-iron previously. Yeah, not much more to say. I've got the same shaft in it here. Be interesting to see if the carry distances and the spin rates change that much. Oh, good strike. Really good strike. Much, much higher ball flight. A lot more spin on this, I would think. Here we go. So 115 ball speed, 86 club speed. We've backed off pretty much 10 yards here. I'm still carrying it 160, but I'm spinning this at over 6,000. Launching at 20.4 degrees. There's something, I don't know if the camera will pick this up, but it must be something to do with this slot on the back of the club. It just makes a slightly weird noise. See if we can pick it up. Yeah, it's just, I think it's just the air going through the back of the club, which just, it's not an unlikable noise, it just makes a slightly different noise than we're used to. Love that. Feels great. I mean, it feels ever so soft coming off the club face. It's nickel chromoly. Well, that was a thin. That was a thin. Dreadful strike, but look at the result. Absolutely hit that off the bottom groove. But I've still managed to get 151 yards of carry out of it. Spinning well. Dreadful strike, but found the green. Told you I'd test the playability. Really good strike, but going left. Great bounce off the tree. Come on. And again, decent strike to finish with. Put a little bit more on that one. And there's that consistent carry distance there. Again, bang on, 159, 160 carry, 113 ball speed, spinning at 5.7, lovely. So, to sum up, what do we think of these clubs? They're very good. Mizuno very rarely launch a bad golf club. The quality, the shaft options are immense. Go and look at their website. There's so many different shafts and grip options. Don't buy off the shelf. If you buy off the shelf, you're crazy. Go and get fitted. This is what it's all about. We can mix sets. You can mix heads. You can use some hot metal in your longer irons. You can blend into the pros. You could have all three heads blending together if you want to do that, if that's your thing. The beautiful irons, the Mizuno, it's the 923 hot metal. Lovely, enjoyed hitting them. Post your comments down below if you're a Mizuno player. What do you think of these irons? I think they're great. I think they're going to do very well. Thanks for watching the video today. It's been a bit of a long one, hasn't it? But a bit of an epic, bit of a war and peace one. But we had to kind of give you as much as we could on this iron. Thanks again. Bye for now.